Beep, 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 beep. Welcome to the Court of the Edijester. Hello, Jesterites, Twitoids, warrior teachers, all manner of strange and weird and wonderful people out there doing the work to combat the wicked threat of so-called EDI. Right, so we're on our way, aren't we? Lots going on here. Lots going on for women Scotland. Oh my God. The buddy wee lasses north of the border are going to take the Haldane judgment to the next level. Fundraisers out there. I'm very, very excited about this. I met the women from For Women Scotland. Oh, wee buddy lasses. And they're fantastic. The work they've done is extraordinary. And now, here we go. They're going to take the judgment to the upper courts, which they've been given permission to do. And that will resolve some of the problems we have if it goes in our favour. So, what's likely to happen? Well, we could get sex defined properly in law as determined by biology and unchangeable. That's what we want. Because that'll really put a very large carrot up their backsides, won't it? Hey, be like, right, come here. Why? I want to talk to you. What about the length and depth of the shaft? Bend over. That reminds me of a great joke. It was a great joke. Who said it? Fletch. Do you remember Fletch? When he said he was trying to frighten a guy, and he said you're going to end up going to prison, and Fletch ends up going to prison, and he walks in the prison. There's this great big hairy bloke, and he stood up, looked at Fletch, and said to him, "Ben Dover." And Fletch said, "Ben, nice to meet you, Victor Hugo." I see these things pop in when you're talking. So we now have For Women Scotland who are doing what they're doing, but GC Leather Bear has put up a tweet that I found particularly interesting, so the links are in the doobies. How you doing, GC Leather Bear? A gender-critical leather bear. Oh, you furry bugger. From one bear to another, I wish you all the bareness. The bare necessities. The bare necessities, yeah, it's a bottle of whiskey and some good cheese. So thank you, GC Leather Bear, for putting this up and allowing me to bring it to your attention. Become a warrior teacher, share, all the stuff. Come and join us for March. I need the numbers. Come and join us. After the fantastic news for the intrepid For Women Scotland and the absolutely blistering letter from Just Gay Ice, which has been, there's letters flying in Iceland from Elder. So there's a link to Elder's tweet thread is also in the doobies for you. So we've got Elder For Women Scotland going ahead in Scotland. We've got Elder fighting it in Iceland. Fantastic. We also have some good news, which was pointed out to me by Leather Bear. In Denmark, of all places, I remember going to Denmark. It had the most extraordinary snow. It was like talcum powder. It was so soft and fluffy. But they oversalt their chips, I feel. That's my experience of Denmark. They oversalt their chips. So what's happened is the right-wing Danish People's Party asked the government and the individual equality speakers from the parties to clarify their position on the meaning of sex. You see the resonance here with what's happening in Scotland is also happening in Denmark. The ruling left-wing Social Democrats, that's communist by the way, Social Democrats, communist, Equality Minister Marie Bergère made the unequivocal statement that in the government's view, there are only two sexes. Trans men are women and trans women are men. Sex is observed, not assigned, and a woman is an adult human female. That came from the Social Democrats. So every single pronoun loon, those that accuse us of being genital fetishists, every one of those that's fumbling a gusset in public, all the stocking wearers and the whipsters, and every fetishistic pervert that thought their day had come has just been given a from the Social Democrats in Denmark. Told you, length and depth of the shaft. Superb. Legal sex change for minors, a la the GRC in the UK, is also not finalised and likely to be scrapped at this point. In the words of Bob Dylan, "Oh, the times they are a-changing." This is absolutely monumental news, GC Leatherbear points out, and then says, watch and learn, and copies in UK Labour. And then there's a link to where on the tweet thread where you can go and have a look, and it translates it into English. It's just extraordinary. So here we go, right? So that's Denmark's on side. Things are happening in Sweden and Finland. So all the progressives that got so far down this road, and then suddenly went, no, this is a dead end. We need to go back. Seem to be making changes. We're seeing changes in American states. We're seeing changes in European countries. Whereas, but in some other countries, we're seeing just the lunacy continues. The absolute madness of twerking boys, you know, or dressed in sexy outfits, walking down the street. I think that was Spain. I mean, what the hell's that about? What's that about? It's just the utter weirdness continues in some places. And then we have a situation whereby the House of Lords has been quite definitive in stating that this is a cult. They've also stated that it is dangerous to gay people because it is about conversion therapy, and it's converting gay kids to be so-called trans, which is an identity that doesn't exist. There's just the underlying comorbidities and psychological problems. And yet Manchester City Council this month, as you saw in my video, were quite happily saying trans women and women and trans men and men, and then rapidly deleting every evidence of it whatsoever, which, by the way, won't do anything because we've got it all, and ignoring emails from the likes of me, and I hope the likes of you. So you can see that there are things happening, aren't there? We saw warrior teacher Robbie go into Colchester and ask them questions and start to bring them to account. Claire Fox posted, you know, retweeted the work done by the Women's Rights Network. A good way to bring those to account. So I think, despite the scraps, despite the turmoil, we're storming, forming, norming, performing. We're storming, it's a process, right? Despite the storming we're doing right now, and it will calm down, the storming that we're doing right now, we're doing well. 4 years ago, we couldn't have imagined this would happen. 4 years ago, we couldn't even say what we wanted to say on Twitter. Thank God for Elon Musk. Isn't it extraordinary? Thank God for Elon Musk. Thank God for the House of Lords. Thank God for the Tory party beginning to get a grip of this. And thank God for Kemi Badenoch. It's just the strangest thing, because the vast majority of people that are in this are left-leaning. And they're all scratching their heads going, how did this happen? How did the world get reversed? But that's just the way it is. You either die young and leave a pretty corpse, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. That's what we're seeing. That's what we're seeing. Liberalism, neoliberalism, becoming the villain. We need an assertion of the original traditional liberal ideas. John Locke. You know, the Enlightenment ideas, scientific principle. That's what we need, a reassertion of that. And we'll see whether or not we can do that. And then how do we get that to the young? The young, are you there, the young? There's lots of you watching now that weren't before. It's really interesting watching that age group go up. Where are the young? Speak to me. Other than that, you have a fantastic day. Jester out. Things to do.